Okay, so every once in a while on the forums, somebody asks a question. And I think to myself, this is a really sort of basic question that would be really super straightforward for me to answer. But it would get wordy. It would get kind of difficult to explain in text alone. And then I think I'm just going to make a video without ever kind of reflecting on how much work a video actually is. So I'm not sure how well this is going to turn out, but I'm going to try anyway. So what I have here is a small amount of a cotton ball that I had already sort of coarsely spun with just my fingers into a length not quite a foot long, maybe 10 or 11 inches. I finger spun it. The limitations of twisting up yarn or thread with your fingers is that you can really only get it to the length of the distance between your two hands at the farthest point, which is roughly going to be your height, while still holding on to the two ends, because once you let go, again, all that twist starts going away. And cotton especially is a very weak fiber because of the shortness. Well, not weak fiber, but the thread tends to be fragile because the strands of the fiber are short. And they don't stick together. So to add strength, you will put in too much twist, of course, and then let it spring into a 2-ply. Which I don't think is visible. Anyway, so this is much stronger now. But yeah, this is cotton balls. This is I've had this bag of cotton balls for ages, but what's kind of nifty about cotton balls is that they tend to be sort of a spiral of fiber. So if you can tease out one end, right, and then you start, you tease out just a little bit, you start adding twist, you got to pick a direction. In this case, I'm going away from me as opposed to towards me, but I'm going away. That's my habit. And you just add twist and you let it travel down the strand, and you add more twist and you let it travel, and you draft the fiber carefully so you don't pull faster than the amount of twist you've got can travel, and continue to engage those fibers into a thread, right? So I'm continuing to twist by rolling it through my fingers, and then I'm holding it so the twist can't escape. I'm holding it on both ends so the twist can't escape, and then twisting more, right? So I'm letting that twist build up, and then I'm pulling out more fiber. I'm drafting the fiber, and because cotton balls are sort of spirally, it'll just keep feeding from the ball. It'll just keep going. But here's the thing, at a certain point you run out of arm. And I don't know about you, but my fingers are kind of cramping up. So this is tiresome. I can understand the fundamentals of spinning through doing this. And in fact, I used to do this as a little kid all the time. I'd brush my cat and I'd get a little clump of hair and undercoat, and I'd twist it between my fingers, and then I'd double it back up on itself and watch it spring into these coils. I would play with this all the time. And I'm by no means much of a spinner now. You watch that twist just travel down as you build it up in the strand. This is getting kind of long. I'm getting kind of tired. My right hand's kind of cramping up. So what can I do? Well, I can use a stick. And so I'm going to use a pencil. So this is the start of using a spindle, isn't it? Right? You wind your thread or yarn or whatever. Try to keep twist in it so it's not fragile. If you let it double up like this, you've let some of the twist escape. So keep tension on it so it doesn't get to loosen up. Wind it onto whatever you're going to use. Let me push it a little bit up more. Wind it up. And then I'm going to spin it off the tip of the pencil. It helps that there's a point, but it doesn't have to be a point as long as there's nothing rough on the pencil or whatever you're going to use. And then I'm going to add a little, I guess this is a half hitch, to give me something to hold this relationship between the developing yarn and the stick. Because what I want, oh, see, I broke it. But you know what? Because there's no real tension here on the twist. There's not enough twist for that length. Okay, what happens when you break it? You overlap it sufficiently with loose ends, and then you add more twist. Now I can do this, right? And this is fundamentally the same as what I was doing before, only now I'm rolling the pencil and not the end of the thread. And you see, if I add enough twist, they'll just cling together, all, you know, tangled up and whatever. So now I actually have banked up the amount of thread I had spun before. I've secured it, and I'm rolling the pencil, not the thread end, which was getting kind of clumped and ratty and a little disturbingly dirty. All right, so I can add lots of twist holding on to this so it doesn't travel into the ball and get pulled out in a giant clump. And then feed it, you know, gently. Or I can do what people used to do, which is, if I can maneuver, I can roll it along my leg, right? And if I have a little bit of just a little bit of tension to keep it from being too soft, that tension can travel, right? I'm rolling it along my leg. It's a little too long. Here, let me shorten this so it's more visible. Right. Wind this. There's a name for all of these things. Oops, I lost too much twist there. You need the twist to keep the threads together. This is really kind of skinny. Not only will it be invisible to you, but it's kind of fragile again because the cotton doesn't have a lot of grip to it. And the less there is of it, the less there is to hold together. I think you can sort of see why doing it this way without a little half hitch might not kind of work as well, but I don't know. I mean, anyway, I might clip this part out. But this is basically spinning it off the tip of a pencil. And I just need to get enough twist into a piece that feels thick enough that I won't break it just by tugging lightly on it. That's better. A little half hitch. Okay, get a little tension in there so while I maneuver it. Okay, and then so I can roll it instead of rolling it between my fingers, which is kind of not great for your joints in the long term. You roll it, which is using a lot larger muscle groups, and get nice quantities of twist just by rolling it, and then feeding out lengths of the fiber slowly because, you know, one rotation is one twist, and that's not a lot when you're going slow. So you don't want to feed too fast. But anyway, this is like spinning 101, right? This is, or not even 101, this is spinning 99. This is the kind of spinning you do when you're bored in your backyard. Anyway, so that's the very basics of what you can do with a cotton ball and a pencil.